We taking profit, baby! Welcome back to my trading channel where I vlog my last weekly trades and I go over 2 trades with you. There's a lot to get into this week, so let's just talk about it. I am currently trading on a demo account, trying a trading challenge. It's my 3rd attempt. And the goal in the trading challenge is to get to phase 2, and you need to do that by getting $700 in profit. This week I ended with $417 in profit on my 2nd week, so that's really amazing. Super excited about that, and I had a couple of trades that really went my way. So the profit of 206.01 and then 92.29, those were both trades on the same trade, which I'm going to get into right now. And there's a lot to discuss about this one trade because, oh my God, things got a little messy and I turned a little crazy, but yeah, I'm just gonna go over it right now. I'm going back to the practice of only trading at my higher time frames and waiting on those sniper kind of entries. If it's not on my higher time frame, I don't want to make the trade because it'll be like a small trade or it's very unpredictable in that market. It was one of my first strategies that I learned before everything got all wonky, but I definitely was focusing on that this week and having a lot of patience with myself. And this is kind of a lesson as to why when I was looking at JPY, that's what we're going to be looking at right now, USD JPY. This is on the 1 hour time frame, this Sunday night. If you're just looking at a lower key time frame like the 1 hour time frame, you would think that this is on a downtrend, that there's a lot of bearish action in the market, and I was waiting here for it to break down at first when I looked at it, but then I was like, no, you know what? That's not what I want to do, and that's not my strategy. And actually I watched the Trading Geek's newest video, and he went over this huge trade that he just had, and one of those things really resonated with me was higher time frames and work down, which sometimes when I'm just going through the motions or I'm kind of antsy to, get this challenge going, I forget that. So I'm really happy that I have my strategy written down and I'm sticking to it. Although the next trade I go over will teach you that lesson. Maybe it won't be in this one trade, but it will definitely teach you in the next trade because I did not listen to that. But in this trade, it does look on the 1 hour that it is going down. But then I scrolled all the way out and I went down to the daily time frame, and that's where you see all of my notes. So when I was just looking at the daily, I realized that this is on a uptrend. It kind of retraced here, went up, and it looks like it's going to retest here. This was definitely a higher low than this one. It was a major higher low. It was higher than the last retest. It was higher. And then when it came down here and started pausing here, I thought that it was still a higher low than this one. So I thought it was definitely going to go on an uptrend. It seems like that's, kind of where, in my mind, where the market was going. So I figured it would continue back up. So that's what I was kind of waiting for. Or if it didn't do that, to go back down, and then I was going to be there, either or. I had already went in and drawn like where my huge daily frames were, but of course I didn't want to wait till it got all the way down here or all the way back up here to make a trade. When you go down into the 4 hour, I noticed that there's huge momentum here. So if it did get to about this level, which it did in the past, it was going to go back up. So this is kind of where I thought the retracement was going to be, and it was either going to push down or go back up. I was waiting. I was very patient. I noticed on the daily that there was this big dojo that had formed. So that to me was a good indication that maybe the trend was coming to an end or that it wasn't going to push through. There was massive indecision. I was kind of just waiting to figure out what the big boys were going to do and how this was going to play out. If I think a trade is going either bullish or bearish, I like to look at the next resistance level or support level to kind of figure out where I want to place my stop loss or my take profit. So that's just the line I drew here. I noticed in the 1 hour previous to this that here there was a little bit of things happening, and then on the contrary up here as well. So I just placed the line here to know if it was going to go in the bullish action where I would place my take profit and or watch to see if it's going to push through, because that could be an indication if it stops there and goes a little bit indifferent that maybe it's changed its mind and it's going to go back down, and I would have left with the profit that I had made, because the goal here is just to get $700 so I could go to phase 2 of the trading challenge. Just gonna zoom this in so we all can see what I'm talking about. As it played out, I just kind of watched it. It reached down here, but then it was a kind of semi-gravestone doji, a little bit bullish action, which is what I was waiting to happen. Still nothing. The market was going kind of sideways for a little bit, all the way until Tuesday. So you see that, like, wow, it's not really going anywhere. Not going to go in for it yet. And then this big, compared to all of these candles, you have a huge Marubozu candle that formed, which is a good indication that there's a lot of buying pressure right now in the market, and they're coming into play, and it's probably going to push it in a direction, or at least try to push through here. And then it did. It did with these 3 candles. This one still had a lot of wick on it, so it still shows that there is some buying pressure and selling pressure for me personally. But with going with the trend on the higher time frames and then being able to push through this support level and then seeing this huge Marubozu, I went in on a trade, and I placed my trade here on this candle. I placed my trade at this candle right here when this was forming on the 4-hour. At the point that I placed my trade, it did come down here, but it was wrapping up, and this is where I put my trade on the 4-hour. I put it all the way, placed my take profit all the way here. I didn't go all the way up, but I put it right here, and then I put my stop loss just a little bit below this low in case it did want to retest, it wasn't going to push through. And then I waited. And I did hold the trade for quite some time. I haven't held a trade this long, but this was on Tuesday that I placed the trade, and I closed it Friday morning. When the market started going a little bit sideways as well, I just wanted to line that to see if it was going to push past this line finally, or this resistance, or if it was going to take a huge retracement again. I was a little bit not worried because I knew that it would had that bullish momentum, but I really didn't want to take any big losses. I'm trying to play my cards kind of safe to my chest right now, especially in the trading challenge. I just want to get there. So I held it out, and then when I saw that it did break through, it broke through, and in a huge way. I mean, this is a huge indication that there is a lot of buying pressure. It broke right through, and then I went in and I placed a second trade here, which I haven't really done before. I don't really do like 2 trades at once, but I just had a feeling. So I placed this stop loss just a little bit below the last low in case it wanted to retest. And then I went again, this one all the way up. Now, if I was really planning, I would have put it all the way to this level because that's where I thought it was going to go. But this was Thursday. The markets closed Friday afternoon. So I figured I'll just ride it up to see how far I can get to it before I close the trades, or where I feel like enough is enough. When I placed the second trade, I was a little bit nervous because I usually don't do that, but I did really trust that this trade was going to go anywhere, but I didn't want to risk it going back down and kind of losing the profit that I had made. So I took the first original trade and I placed it just at that other resistance line, and then I just kept the second trade open because at least I would close one and then still have the other. That's what I was thinking. But then when it reached, the most wildest thing happened to me, because then when it reached this level, let me just kind of get rid of the second trade here. It should have closed out on my take profit, and I was super excited about that. But then when I went into my trading account, that is not what happened. I went into my trading account and it didn't close out my trade even though it hit the take profit. It actually glitched and removed my take profit. I couldn't modify my trade. I couldn't close my trade. I couldn't do anything. It was just an open trade. And when I tell you, I tried. Look how many times I tried. Like a psychopath, I tried closing and changing my stop loss, my take profit, closing my trade, trying to get out of this trade because it, to me, was a very successful trade. I had hit my take profit. I was happy with that, and I was willing to let the second one ride out all the way to C, and it wasn't working. And when I say I felt crazy, this was happening at about Thursday night while I was about to go to sleep, and I couldn't sleep. I tried again at like 2 or 3 in the morning, didn't work. I woke up at 6, set my alarm for 6 to try to see at least where my trade was and if I can get out of it. At 6 a.m., I still couldn't do anything with my trade, so I sent an email. It sounds crazy. I was ready to call everyone at 6 in the morning. Everyone I knew that trades, like, yo, like, what's going on? Like, you know, like, what's going on? But I sent an email because I didn't want to lose this fire trade, you know? I wanted to take the profit. When I tell you I tried to make the trade, and every time I tried to close it or change my take profit or do anything, I felt loco because I kept getting this message, order rejected. And because I've only been on this platform for 2 weeks, I just didn't know what was going on. And I tried and I tried and I tried. And
it was a moment in time.
I'm so grateful that I wasn't the only one going through it. Like, sorry if I got to go through it, so do you, you know. Did send the email, like I said, and I got an amazing response back saying that they were aware of it. It has been reported. So thank you to everyone that reported it, I suppose, because I just felt crazy. Like, I didn't want to lose my trading challenge because of, you know, I was trying to close it, but the problem was resolved and they did close out all the trades, and thank the Lord. So at the end of all of that mayhem, I closed both the trades as soon as I could. I actually closed them at, I think, like 9 or 10 in the morning on Friday, and I got that email around 11 that the problem was resolved. And I already knew because girl was trying. And as soon as I could, I closed both trades. I just didn't want to go through that again in case there was another glitch. And it was already Friday, so I was just going to take my money and run, you know, like, take it, let's go. I didn't want to risk anything else or for it to like retest and then have to hold the trade all weekend. So girl got out quick as soon as I could. I left with this in profit, which is amazing. And I'm ending the week in profit, which has been a great 2 weeks. The goal again is 700 and then 1200 for the second phase. And I think right now I'm kind of on the right track. This is where the week ended up. You have a little bit of a bearish momentum, not too much, but again, the chart's closed. So I just really love this trade again because I went off the higher time frames. I followed, let me get back here, what the higher time frames were saying. Up. I had patience with myself. I didn't go in right away, and then I went down to the lower time frames to make the trade. I waited till it broke through the level. I got out of the trades when I felt like it was good to get out of them. And yeah, it just had everything kind of in it, and I took profit both times. So it was a really great trade for me. I looked for my 3 reasons to place the trade. I had patience with myself, and that is all I can ask for. However, the whole week wasn't like that. No, it wasn't. Let's go over a trade and why I had to make this message for myself. Wait for retest on higher time frames. Patience, patience, patience. I mean, it seems like I'm just putting the same message in my head every single time, but let's go over this one because they don't all go your way and you just gotta move on, learn something, and move on. I promised to show the good, the bad, and the ugly. This definitely was the bad and the ugly. I lost a trade. And what's more frustrating than that is I lost a trade that I wanted to get out of and didn't. that I knew I shouldn't have made and did. And I definitely was not following any of my practices, which is so strange, but I just rushed it. It was a premature trade and I didn't like it and I knew that, and now we're going to talk about it. This one hurts. And again, this is just on a demo 10K account where I'm just trying to get to $700 profit, enter phase 2, and then $1,200 to become funded. So taking a loss of $100 hurts because the goal is to get to the $700 to get into phase 2. I've taken way bigger losses when I first started trading and I had like a 100K account, or when I was really going on demo accounts. But this trade, the reason why I say it hurt my heart is because I knew it. I knew it in my gut. I didn't have 3 reasons to make the trade. I just went off one thing and it just really wasn't cool, and it's not the trading that I want to do to be a profitable trader. So let's all cry about it and learn something. I'm just kidding. I'm going to remove this little thing because we don't need that. You don't need to keep seeing that, although it is a really good message. I broke down my chart exactly how I do every single time. Usually there's a lot more lines down here in the bearish momentum because that's where I thought it was going. Again, it wasn't based on anything, but as I talked about in my last video, gold was at a pretty unprecedented high, and just in my mind thought things couldn't go any higher, or that it wasn't going to. So I was really waiting to see if it was going to break through. So I have my daily major support level. This is the new high key level, and then I wrote down the previous major key level. So right now I was just going to work between these two, and if it was going to break through here, where was it going to go? I went down to the 1 hour and just checked where the last lower low was and wanted to maybe play around here, and knew if it was going to break through here, then it's possible that it was going to go all the way down. Oh my God, let me just see where I went in for this trade because it's so ridiculous. It just doesn't even make sense why I would do this. It doesn't even make sense why I would do this, but I noticed the market last week was going a little sideways, so I figured this is where, the new support and resistance lines were going to be, and I wanted to wait until it made a break of pattern. In hindsight, this should have been the break of pattern, right? Like, obviously, it needs to break through the last lower low, but it didn't. And as soon as this one started forming, I thought that there was going to be a lot of momentum, so I placed my trade here. I don't even know if I'm going to show this because it's so it is opposite of what the last trade was. We're just going to have to finish this video with me demonstrating as a voiceover because have patience with yourself. I did not record the last video, or I didn't hit record, or the program didn't work. Let's just move on with it. Looking at my trading journal, okay, the trade maybe wasn't as embarrassing as I thought. I actually didn't go in right away, so that's a good thing. I went in when this was forming. Here on the 4 hour, when I noticed this was forming, and then I went to the daily and checked, and I saw this, and I was like, oh, this is clearly going to push all the way back down now. I know what the market's going to do. I'm a professional. Not. It's still on an uptrend, but I went into the trade and I placed it here, and being the confident woman that I am, I put my take profit all the way down to the next major level, and I put this one up here. As it was going, and I noticed that there was probably some resistance and this doji and this bullish action coming, I could have got out of the trade here. The trade was now on Tuesday, and as I was going to sleep, I thought to myself, get out of this trade. I didn't feel good about it. I didn't write any reasons why to place the trade in my journal. I don't know. I just did it. At that point, when I was about to go to sleep, I was only about negative $32, around there, negative 30. And I was thinking to myself, girl, just take the L and go. Like, I just didn't feel confident about the trade, and that should have been enough. So instead of doing that, I readjusted my take profit and my stop loss. The 4 hour, let's speed this up a little bit. And I woke up and I got knocked out. Now, a few things to learn, because in hindsight, if I would have kept it the way it was, it wouldn't have gone all the way down to my take profit, but I wouldn't have been knocked out. And I could have, when I woke up in the morning, got out of the trade here, still a little bit of profit or something. But I readjusted everything to kind of have like a security blanket, I suppose, because again, in a trading challenge, you can't lose more than $300, I believe it is. So I didn't want to lose that much. But then also, there was just a lot going on in my mind and I wasn't confident, so I readjusted. I think if this happens to me again and I really feel like I need to get out of the trade, I made it too quickly, it was too premature, I should just take the L and go, or don't make the trade, wait for the good entry. So I learned a lot here, and it did eventually go down to where I would have been okay to kind of sell out. I don't know. This is where we are today. And yeah, I guess we'll just see what the week brings, I was not planning on being on camera today since I was just editing all day, but here we are since something happened with the last part of my video, whether that was me not hitting record or a million things. And that just resonates again, patience in learning, patience in evolving, patience in learning new things, and definitely for me learning, the new vlogging, this new video format, editing, and trading. I mean, just overall taking the steps and knowing that there's going to be some bumps along the way, but not giving up and always trying to put my best foot forward. So here I am. Yeah, what a week. I'm super excited to see what's going to happen again this week. If it keeps going on the way it's been going, hopefully I'll have some news next week in my video. And yeah, I hope y'all are just, taking time to enjoy the ride as you learn new things and continue to grow, not only as a trader, but as a human being. So thank you so much for watching. I learned a lot this week, and I'm super excited to put everything that's kind of percolating into the charts and into my everyday. So thanks again for watching, and happy trading.